All right, Pure PhD here.
It's Mudita art.
And he's like half asleep.
I'm exhausted. Okay, to be fair, I had a work-related thing before this, so I'm pretty.
But you're mainly blaming Obi Wan episode 1.
Yeah, I was tired after the work thing, but this is like, so we're reviewing Obi Wan episode 1.
We were thinking about Miss Marvel, and a short review. I lost 4 minutes of this, even though they have the weekend, which is awesome. But like, it's just out of my demo.
Anyway, this episode just wiped me. But yeah, we're reviewing Obi Wan Kenobi season 1, episode 1. I'm exhausted.
Let's see.
Holy
How
moly!
far did we get?
Just to set a baseline, we
watched
this.
like 47 out of was it 49 out of 55 minutes of this.
I don't even want to see if there's like a mid
Cameo.
credits thing or whatever.
Yeah.
They don't really present these credits as if you want to
Is
stick
this
around.
whole thing like? This whole thing is like mid-credit cameos of like people you never heard of, and I felt like Kamen Rider Zio that sort of worked as like, oh, you're doing like crossovers of like other Kamen Riders, and then like you're creating your own. This is like, no, it doesn't work that way.
So yeah, the base premise is like,
What is the base premise of this
This
actually?
is Obi-Wan Kenobi after he's in exile from the events of episodes 1 through 3 of Star Wars prequel trilogy.
That's correct.
And like he's like keeping an eye on like Luke and Leia and stuff like that.
Well, Luke in the beginning, and then I guess you just spoiled that.
Yeah. Or
Actually,
whatever.
we think so. We don't know because they don't really say it in the end.
I mean, I don't know. Like, you see Leia and Luke and stuff, so
Yeah.
you're supposed to assume that this is gonna happen in some way anyway. So
Right.
they're not just gonna show random shit in a show that like
Is that what they did?
I don't know. You're expecting it to lead somewhere,
Right.
but anyway, Luke, young Leia. It's young Obi-Wan, even though he's older than he was in the prequels or whatever.
It's like 10 years after, even though they look like they're 4, the kids.
Yeah, the kids are very small.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan says like, "Oh man, I'm not the same man I was 10 years ago."
No Country for Old Men,
But
Obi-Wan.
like, but it's like been 20 years or whatever.
Yeah.
He's in good shape. Ewan McGregor. He's in
I
good
guess.
shape. Although he's like moving very slowly.
It's like 20 years later, he's like, man, it's only been 10 years. I'm not moving too well. I went from my 20s to my 30s. I went from 18 years old to 28. I'm not moving too well.
And yeah,
I was a teenage guy in 1999. Now I don't move too well.
yeah. Oh man, I was in Big Fish. You know, I was in Moulin Rouge. Now I'm an old man. Yeah, there's a lot of young people in this. There's like Luke and Leia. There's also a young Jedi in this or whatever.
Yeah, there's that. Yeah.
There's
young Jedi in the beginning also.
Yeah.
Before the Tatooine stuff.
Yeah. Also, this was like a 50-minute thing. We skipped the last 6 minutes because it's credits or whatever. That's when credits start.
Yeah.
But like the first like 10 minutes of this is just like them recapping the movies with like actual footage from the movies.
Which I thought was...
It's pretty weird.
Which I thought was... Yeah, that was weird. I heard it was a cheap budget.
It's interesting though. I don't know.
I thought it was a cheap budget. I also feel like... Even though it's Star Wars, and supposedly you watched the whole franchise before watching Obi-Wan.
That's
like,
not always true.
That's not always true.
That's not always true.
That's not always true. So, like, you have to keep that in mind. So you have to recap the prequels. Yeah.
And that's something you can do on, like, a platform like Disney Plus and stuff.
Yeah.
Because, like,
also,
yeah.
Also, this ruins Empire Strikes Back if you've never watched Empire Strikes Back.
Wait, why? What do you mean?
Because, like, oh no! Darth Vader is Luke Skywalker's father.
Oh. I mean, that's something
Whatever.
that's true. I mean, that's something that's true about the prequels also, or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's the world's biggest spoiler that everyone probably knows on Earth or whatever. Yeah.
So yeah, we were.
I'm letting you take the wheel on this one.
Yeah,
I said I'm tired. Yeah,
I know. So
feel free to take a second.
We capped the prequels, and there's some interesting stuff in this. You know what I'm going to say, but what's the thing I was going to say before that? I forgot. Like, there's Jar Jar. The other was epic music for Jar Jar, but he's not even in the episode, and neither is Naboo, so I don't know why they showed Jar Jar for. They just have to remind you Jar Jar's in the prequels, even though that's what you would rather avoid when showing this.
Yeah, I really don't know. Like, I feel like they're setting up like.
Is Jar Jar going to be in the series?
Yeah, by
series?
showing all this footage of like the prequels, I'm wondering if they're like, okay, here's the reminder of all these things. Keep them in the back of your mind.
We're gonna have Jar Jar in the prequel series, Disney Plus only.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's pretty weird. But,
Yeah.
like, yeah, for all we know, that might be true. And we might just post this podcast and then we get a reply that, like,
he's gonna be the next Sith Lord, yeah.
Don't spoil this for us, but, like, yeah.
So warning, if you don't want Jar Jar, like, he's gonna be in the episode, even if it's
he's only in the
recap footage.
He's only in the recap footage, so...
Right.
So warning for that.
Right.
Also, like, in general... Like, you talked about how they played this epic music with Jar Jar and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, but and as like interesting of a creative move that was, like
as interesting of a creative move that was.
I'm really out of it.
I think your response to that was pretty good. Well, that was just some mind blowing creative. You have to take some risk to pay off some reward, right? These guys are geniuses.
We're gonna throw this in her.
They're the minds of Star Wars. They're just aiming. They're light years ahead of us in a galaxy far, far away.
Anyway, yeah, they're making these 4D chess level plays here.
They make these moves. They're like the Bill Belichick of the Star Wars franchise.
This is Moneyball.
This is Moneyball.
The fuck was it? Sorry. What was I gonna say? Yeah, there's the... So yeah, just in general, like, I feel like the whole episode was, like, fighting the fact that, like, in the recap footage, they're showing this movie footage from... Like, it's movie quality footage, but it's from 20 years ago. And then this show is being filmed now.
It's from 24 years ago.
But it's a TV show.
Yeah, it's a TV, yeah.
And it's a TV show.
And it looks like... Like, how do you feel about the TV... budget compared to the movie budget.
And they have a TV budget, even though...
And the movie budget's probably been, like, they remastered it, like, 20 times probably at this point.
Right, so it's a TV budget versus movie budget, but it's also...
And it might be laggy because it's on the Disney Plus service.
But it's also 24-year-ago CGI, movie CGI, versus current-day TV show, streaming platform CGI.
Yeah.
So, like, there's this kind of contrast there. I feel like it's kind of makes it all feel kind of off to me.
Yeah.
And in that vein, like, I also feel like the music... Something just fell.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Sorry about that, yeah.
But, yeah, also in that vein, I also feel like the music felt kind of off. Also, the sound effects, the sound design felt kind of off,
There's no
too.
John Williams.
Yeah, the sets feel off. The location shooting feels kind of like... Okay, this looks like it was just filmed in SoCal or whatever. Like,
they don't have a lot of star power or, like, character power in this movie. And they introduced a bunch of characters.
It's not a movie. It's a TV show.
It's a TV
show episode. Yeah. It feels like it doesn't have the gravitas of a movie.
It doesn't feel... It doesn't feel like a blockbuster, like, TV show ever.
They gotta have TV actors do this show.
The guy who plays Uncle Owen's pretty good.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, we'll get into that a little bit.
I feel like it's going for that kind of, like, Netflix original level of, like... Okay, we have a little bit of star power, but we're not gonna have too much of it. But we're also...
It doesn't feel like this is the grand comeback of Ewan McGregor yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I feel... Yeah, here's this scene here. We're watching like this scene after like the initial recap. Okay, here's the recap with Jar Jar. But
let's recap the whole thing, I guess.
But yeah, we saw the recap, and then you also see like... Oh, you can skip the intro. Interesting.
Oh, okay. That's pretty important, actually, yeah. Because you already watched it, yeah. So, they showed Natalie Portman. I don't know why they did that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, she's important.
She's important, I guess, but, like, is she going to show up in this?
I mean, it's to establish the relationships that these characters had and stuff.
I don't know if they showed off Baru that much in this show.
I mean, she's the mother of Luke and Leia and stuff, so... I don't know. It might tie in. I don't know. I feel like this.
I don't know. I guess they have to show it because of the flashback footage when they have the flashback stuff.
I guess that maybe it's purely for the flashback stuff.
Yeah, there you go.
But yeah.
Also, like that whole prequel recap thing probably has more star power in it than the actual TV show does.
Yeah, yeah. Look at this footage. Like you have like Mustafar.
Yeah,
and,
Mustafar, the climbing on lava.
Yeah, this is like action packed. Whereas like there was like some dull moments where I was like, okay, I'm tuning out.
Like,
of this show.
okay, yeah. So
sometimes they're just standing there. Sometimes they're like
this is like the whole Red Letter media criticism of them just walking in front of a green screen. And, like that's pretty valid in this TV show.
Yeah, but in this, but like one thing in the Star Wars movies that like I've read George Lucas's biography by Brian J. Jones.
Yeah.
One thing that kept coming up in reviews and like in like the vision of like the Star Wars movies was that a lot of it was based around speed and like a lot of like delivery of scenes and like the editing. Like the movies were very kinetic and like had a lot of motion to them.
Yeah.
Whereas like this show is like kind of plodding a little bit at slow pace. You kind of fall asleep at moments at times almost. Yeah. It does have like a pretty action-packed opening, but like after that it kind of slows down quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I feel like I was like falling asleep multiple points during this.
I felt
he's like on a dusty planet. He's like chopping like this meat and he's like
he's living in a cave.
He's living in a cave.
And he's not brushing his teeth or like eating his food or like lighting a lamp.
He's like
he's just standing there quiet as if it was like an indie like student film.
It's like, okay, time to brush the dust off my boots for about 2 minutes here. Like, oh my god, like do something.
Like normally in if that's like a Terrence Malick film, it'd be like great, but like this is not that.
This is not that.
Yeah.
Also, like even with some of the dramatic moments, like there's some dramatic moments in this where like they deliver it kind of slowly, and like there's not like dramatic like music and a dynamic camera angle shot. It's like they pull really slowly. It's really pulled out or whatever. I don't know if you know the moment I'm thinking of, but like there's a moment in the middle of this where it's supposed to escalate things a bit and like motivate Obi Wan, but like I don't even think that was that dramatic of a moment. I mean, I don't feel invested in that moment or whatever.
It's always weird because like he has to play like this monk-like character, but like it's a TV show, so like he should say something or whatever.
Yeah.
But like he has no. They could have used a Jawa in the beginning, but like he has no one to talk to in the show because he's a hermit.
Yeah, I feel like this. I don't know how much I'm attributing this to like TV show writing, or like TV show budget, or TV show budget for filming or writing or cinematography or whatever. But it just felt like kind of slow at times. Some of these moments have like pretty interesting sets. But they do reuse a bunch of sets.
I mean, they probably filmed all the meat stuff in like one time, and they used it throughout the film or the TV show.
They're in
and then like on both sides of the meat factory it's not even a factory. It's just a bunch of like poles there, and then like, there's a bunch of like. I don't even know where the meat's going. Like really how they get this machine here, and like where's the meat going? I don't even know.
Yeah, it's Upton Sinclair, I guess.
Sinclair,
in the middle of the desert.
Like these are harsh conditions. They need to form a union. They have a unit worries than just the Empire here.
I guess also part of it is the fact that like Obi Wan is like they are establishing.
He looks like Al Borland in the scene.
Also, another thing, I guess a part of this is like, in the tension of the show is that Obi Wan says, "I can't do anything" or whatever.
He doesn't say any of that in the beginning though.
So like. I think you did miss a few scenes.
Okay.
There were probably a few scenes where, like he said, I think
I'm living a horrible life. I don't believe in myself. I'm just gonna work in this meat factory.
Yeah, like maybe like part of what makes this so slow is the fact that Obi-Wan is stunted as a character, so they're establishing that he can't do things right now.
They don't really show it.
So they're setting it up.
Like
now.
He's cutting this like huge pizza, like 5-pound piece of meat.
There's a moment where he interacts with somebody where he like expresses like how like he can't like act and like take any big moves and stuff. I don't know if you saw that or not. It's one of the characters.
I guess it would be depressing if he has to like take care of like Luke and then like he can't reveal who he is and stuff. Like that's the kind of moves he can't do.
Yeah. Maybe that's a scene that you missed. That was kind of important.
I guess that's another thing they don't mention in the show is that if he tries to rescue one of them, that'll expose him as well.
Yeah, I guess, like, in general, like, there's a lot... If that's... The fact that, like, those things being established kind of rest on only a few scenes in a way that's meaningful is kind of like a flaw of this thing, which kind of works against it, where it's like it's not this recurring through line where you're like really establishing it over and over and over again in a meaningful way that's moving and dynamic and good cinematography and stuff. And like, you know, they have a lot of kind of like semi decent budget CGI and stuff, but
is this just a camel with like a face on it or something?
yeah, I don't know what they did here. It's interesting
because they don't use the stuff that they use. I mean, I guess people don't like the remastered versions of episode 4 to 6, but they could have used those animals too.
Yeah,
and they introduced a lot more different animals. I don't know if this is the same city in Tatooine or what's going on here.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I like Owen's character in this a lot. Uncle Owen.
Yeah, can you recap that scene for us?
I mean, so Owen is at a crossroads with Obi Wan. Obi Wan wants to like still be involved in Luke's life.
Oh right, because like they've met each other. Because like he doesn't just leave the babies at the doorstep or the baby at the doorstep. He talks to them and says, "You have to take care of this child who is blah blah blah."
You might have missed another thing where Owen was saying stuff to Obi Wan about how like so that's right, like he left Luke to Uncle Owen.
Yeah.
And then but Obi-Wan's still trying to be involved.
Yeah.
But like Owen says some things about how like well, you shouldn't be involved anymore. He should be left to me, his family and stuff. And I thought that was actually a pretty nice moment.
And that later conflicts later on with the the end of the episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, they set up Leia's character and like her life, and you get to see some characters from the prequel movies get brought back.
Yeah.
Also, so this is actually doing some interesting stuff. Like,
I thought the
as much
the
as I was
politics
saying all this negative stuff before,
I really like the direction of the politics of the Gagana family and like to end slavery. Oh no, we can't end slavery and stuff. Even though it's like little small stuff, it's like it felt more intellectual than other parts where he's just like cutting some meat or whatever. And there's like no union talk or whatever.
I feel like in like a Star Wars movie, you don't have a chance to talk about like space politics or whatever, but in a Star Wars TV show featuring a character who's literally a senator in a galactic republic, you want to flesh that out a little more. Because you have more chances to like talk about that and like have that fill out the character's background and stuff.
Also, they don't really talk about in the prequels either. Like Darth Vader himself was a slave, right? Basically.
He had to be freed by Qui-Gon and stuff. So,
I felt like they didn't do a lot of gravitas with that, but like this, it felt a little bit more,
Yeah.
Just because they mention it, they're like, we should have a conversation about this.
Yeah, and then like, I was like, man, this other senator is like, man, we don't need to care about slavery. That's fine. And I'm like, man, this dialogue's so stupid. Why would a senator act like that? And I'm like, no, I guess there are probably politicians who don't care about freaking things.
Yeah, there could be like some
in the world.
interesting commentary about that right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
so I was like, I feel like as a young person, I'm like, this writing's dumb. But as I'm getting older, I'm like, this is like too relatable. This is just stressing me out. This is.
It's also weird because like I remembered something else about this episode. Also, this is the longest episode, maybe because of that recap of the movies. And I remember some of the recap. Like they had pod racing in the beginning, and I was like, are they gonna bring up pod racing in this this Obi Wan series that takes place in Tatooine?
I think they kind of ruined this whole series because they just showed all this old footage, and now we're gonna subconsciously be always asking ourselves, like, is this gonna be in this series? Is this gonna be in this series? There's gonna be 6 episodes. Each episode's like 40 minutes. They gotta pad the time. Who knows? I know it's on a budget, but we could use some pod racing.
They actually had a lot of places. I don't know if it's all green screen, but they use a few places.
Yeah, I don't. Based on the budget of this episode so far, I'm not expecting pod racing to happen.
Right.
Like even like the most.
It's more like
the
fact that Darth Vader, his origin was that he was a pod racer.
Yeah.
And they're gonna have Darth Vader later on.
And he's gonna do some pod racing.
Pod racing. Like I don't know why they brought that in the series for. Like.
Right. Why are you bringing that energy into like this is Anakin and then this is also Anakin, but like they did show like anyway I don't know.
Yeah. And like some of that like bothered me later on when we showed the Leia stuff because like I'm wondering like if like there's going to be like Jake Lloyd stuff for like the kids in the show.
I mean, I guess they're like, yeah, they're showing Leia, they're showing Luke, they're showing Anakin.
Yeah.
They're showing all of them in the past.
Yeah.
I feel like all of this is stuff that's supposed to be basically going on through Obi Wan's mind.
Yeah.
In this current moment.
Yeah.
In his memories.
Yeah.
And like maybe he's remembering all those moments at the same time, I guess.
Oh yeah, like there's that dream he had, that nightmare he had, or his PTSD or whatever it was, and like you see like teenage Anakin Skywalker, like who's a Padawan, like in a yellow speeder, like crashing down in Coruscant, like out trying to get that assassin or whatever. Even though all you do is see him like joyriding and wasn't actually getting the assassin.
Yeah,
which is the important part. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, what was I gonna say next? I don't know. You have any other thoughts?
That was about it.
To that? Yeah. Yeah. It's doing. I feel like there's a certain budget here that like it's having this like uncanny Star Wars Valley here.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be terrible. I like the first season. We didn't talk about this. I like the first season of The Mandalorian. I hate the second season. I didn't watch Book of Boba Fett. It could be okay to watch, especially since I'm not really online to hear people complain or approve of certain things in the series.
Yeah,
but like it's not going to be like the best thing in the world. It's not going to be like the first time ever watching Star Wars Episode 4 or whatever.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, those are some interesting comparisons. I feel more invested in this from one episode of this than I did after like 2 or 3 episodes of Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Because I feel like they're doing just enough interesting things.
And this was before we saw all that Leia stuff.
Right. Yeah. I feel like they were doing enough things with the acting, with like the sets.
Oh, we didn't talk about the Inquisitor and
there's like there's
the Inquisitor
like,
and the third sister, even though I don't know who the first and the second sister are.
Yeah, there's just some random characters in this that like I feel like okay, these are going to be the bad guys or whatever.
Yeah.
And also the action in this is pretty slow too, even though there's like they're trying to build up a lot of tension.
He's like barely doing the force push. And
yeah.
It looks he's not doing the full effort.
They're trying to and I don't know, they're trying to build tension, but I feel like it's not quite building the tension for me compared to like a more, I don't know, differently directed thing. I feel like it's kind of falling just a little bit, but I feel it's still invested in the story enough to like still check out maybe another episode and see where it goes. Right. I feel like I am curious though. So that's the good thing about this first episode is that I am curious about seeing where it goes after this.
Yeah. Like, I wonder if the Inquisitor's going to be back. His speech in the beginning was interesting. They were having that third sister thing and pursuing Obi Wan, and that's her goal. That's her character.
You see that.
I don't know why the character is like that, but whatever.
They I mean, you wonder, right? Like she's establishing.
I actually don't wonder.
I get it. Yeah.
I thought they're going to do something with one of the characters, but there was a nice twist with them, and then we're not going to see him again. So that was pretty interesting. Hopefully they'll build off that. Actually, they do in this episode.
I think we wanted to compare this to some other series.
Halo.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I was like, definitely not, because it wasn't like Multiverse of Madness.
This wasn't because of the violence or gore. This was more comparable to Halo because of the sets and like the budget.
It doesn't look like the movies. Which is going to bother you if you're a big fan of the movies.
Yeah, that was a big thing. I feel like when I looked at the behind the scenes of the movies, they would talk about how they're traveling to the Hebrides Islands or something like that to like get these like magnificent landscapes.
I can't even say that, man. That must have been really good.
Or they went to like Tunisia or whatever.
Tunisia, like,
and they built a set there or something like that.
I think Tunisia, they just have a thing that looks like the Owen.
It's still there, I think, or it was. Still
I don't know if it's war torn or something, but like they can't go there anymore.
They can't go there anymore.
Yeah.
But like now, it's like I feel like everything in this was filmed within a certain square mile radius of Hollywood or something.
Or like Pinewood Studios or whatever.
They might have went to like
Skywalker Ranch.
They might have went to Palm Springs as far as it went or something.
Then went to a Las Vegas road trip.
Yeah, we watched Andrew Zimmern episode on a Las Vegas.
They went on a Hunter S. Thompson journey.
Yeah, apparently Palm Springs is where like a lot of Hollywood people went. And there's
They
like
went to,
there's a highway that goes directly from Palm Springs to Las Vegas.
I was gonna say Aunt Norma, Peggy Sue's Diner.
Peggy Sue's Diner, yeah.
There you go.
But yeah, there's also like some kind of like statute in place or something, where like you can pay you can pay a union rate or a non-union rate or something if you're within a certain radius of Hollywood, and that Hollywood is like defined as a very specific place on the map. So like if you go beyond there, you have to pay a union rate or something like that, an extended union rate. So like maybe like they all filmed it within a certain radius or whatever, and like it just looks like, you know, like similar sets to like other shows we've seen or something.
They don't use Mos Eisley. They don't use any of those junk shops from like episode 4.
Yeah, they don't seem like they have the budget of like making like really elaborate.
Even though like they could have just used like an old miniature or something.
Right.
Or like some old CGI.
Right.
Sort of weird, uncanny.
Right.
It's sort of weird too, because like George Lucas, whenever he talks about Mos Eisley Spaceport, he's always like, it didn't look quite like how he wanted to. So maybe they didn't know how to redo it again.
I feel like every single thing that tries to like do a Star Wars tie-in thing is always trying to recapture the magic of the Mos Eisley Cantina over and over and over again. Like it's in every, you know, movie. It's in every like Star Wars VR like, experience.
I wonder if they were like, we did Jakku. That was basically like modern Tatooine, so we can't do old Tatooine as Jakku Tatooine or whatever.
Yeah, they just.
So we just have this meat factory. That's not even a factory. It's like just a bunch of poles. Yeah.
Yeah, they gotta keep. I don't know. They just keep doing the same stuff again, and I mean, like you can kind of blame the fans for this because sometimes whenever they try to vary up the Star Wars formula, like fans like rage about it.
You can blame me for it. Yeah.
So like So then every time the executives always like rein it in, and they're like, okay, we got to do something that's a real tribute to the original movies again and again.
We got to do something different.
And we're gonna have like the original actors, and we're gonna have the original story that's from the original movies, and we're gonna give a tribute to the original movies in this way. We're not gonna do anything new. Like, apparently, like the extended universe like went pretty far out there. There was like bunny people at some point or whatever.
Really, that's very interesting.
There's literally a whole bunch of stuff.
Some of the stuff,
yeah. There's more Rhodians and stuff like that. You know, the Greedo species, and
they used that on like the cartoons and stuff.
Yeah, there's Rhodians in Galactic Star Cruiser or whatever.
Okay.
But
I think there's a Rhodian in like episode 1, right? Like it was like he or she like helped Anakin. It's like, oh Annie, can I go in your pod racer?
Oh, okay. Oh, was it a young Rhodian?
As a young Rhodian.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I wonder if he grows up to be like the guy who threatens Han Solo for a bounty.
Okay. What? Okay, as you're saying all this stuff, Rhodians,
Yeah.
species, alien species.
Yeah, they have a lot of different insects and stuff, yeah.
You know, slaves on, like, Tatooine and stuff. One thing I'm glad that they handled in this pretty well, maybe it's a sign of the changing times, not really any major racist tropes in these Star Wars sci-fi characters. There's no, like, Watto or, like, problematic Gungans or anything, or, like, the Nemoidians or whatever. They seem to be doing all
they
right.
might be the prequels, I don't know.
They seem to be doing okay in this show so far.
They show Watto, they show young Jake Lloyd Anakin, who may not have been paid for this, but they don't show Watto.
They don't show Watto. They're like, we don't need to show that. We don't need to see the Nemoidians.
Somehow this is what happened in the prequels with the Nemoidians.
Yeah, he was fighting people. Who was he fighting again?
There's a bunch of droids. It was, they came out of nowhere.
Hopping out of the speeder. Look at that scene. So they're doing okay on that.
Okay, yeah. I was thinking about that too. Like, I forgot about that,
Yeah, George Lucas wasn't the best at that sort of thing. And
yeah.
So, yeah, we will say there's that.
I mean, yeah, the director is a female Asian, so that helped,
I think I saw in the credits, directed by Deborah Chow. Yeah.
I remember she was in, like, she was interviewed. I forgot what she said about stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. You can find some stuff
Interesting.
online,
Wow.
There's 3 writers, and I could sort of tell because, like, they have the prequel stuff. They had stuff on Tatooine, the stuff on Dantooine, and it was split up. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm wondering. Yeah, now that I think about it, since it's a Asian director, they have like the third sister and the fifth brother. I wonder if that was like an like sort of like inspired by like Asian, like naming convention for siblings and stuff.
Possibly,
It's
yeah.
like-
I mean, George Lucas is some of that stuff, like Jedi and stuff. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah,
Oh, Jedi Geki from like Japanese samurai stuff.
yeah.
The Seven Samurai or whatever. Yeah, well, I feel like at this point we're getting to the point of like being as long as the episode itself or whatever.
Right, yeah. Yeah, nothing else about Halo, right?
Halo, I mean, yeah, the main thing is that it felt like it had the same feel of the sets as
It
Halo.
felt like
The
it
location.
sort of felt
shooting.
like that. Not quite like this, but it sort of reminded me of like the complaints people had about Masters of the Universe. Like it's not on Eternia, it's on Earth, and that kind of thing, probably, right?
Yeah. It was like, yeah, it feels like it's like, yeah, all the shots don't feel like they're like on custom sets
Yeah.
or like the really special location shooting things. It felt like it's all shot within a certain radius of Hollywood.
Okay, yeah, you
Of
covered
like
that.
Hollywood and Vine or whatever it is. Yeah. 25-mile radius or something.
All right. Yeah. Okay, and I guess that's it. Pierre reaches the out. I guess Mudita Hart probably gonna take a nap or
I
something.
think I
after a
gotta
long
take
day.
a nap or something.
After Obi Wan, yeah.
All right.
All
Take
right.
it easy, folks.
All right, see ya.
Peace.
Peace.